course of our investigation, our team has provided a number of theories and perspectives regarding the content we are researching. We have since attracted the attention of some noteworthy professionals in fields such as human trafficking prevention, sociology, child psychology, law, and even politics. Today, we are proud to share with our growing audience a testimonial from an esteemed researcher, Dr. Judith Reisman. Dr. Reisman has an extensive and impressive background, a lifetime of research and passionate work against pornographers and the pseudoscience of Alfred Kinsey and the Kinsey Institute. She has authored several best-selling publications, including Sexual Sabotage in 2010, and is frequently cited by dozens of world-renowned publications. Dr. Reisman is also considered an expert witness on court cases involving pornography and media issues relating to culturalized sexualization and fetishism. Needless to say, she is certainly also an expert on the subjects we are investigating, and it's an honor to have her give us a testimonial regarding the subject at hand. Without further delay, we now present an Investigating YouTube exclusive, Dr. Judith Reisman.
First question is, after looking at the top 10 YouTube videos for Investigating YouTube, what are your initial reactions?
Massively deviant and sick and angry people are creating these videos. People who hate children, and indeed pedophilia. People who are involved themselves or who are partial to abuse of children, both physical and sexual. That is clear through all these materials. There is no other alternative explanation for the kinds of things that are on these videos.
So how did we get to the point in our society where these kinds of things would even be in the realm of possibility that someone would think to create them?
We go back to the beginning. Actually, it took 3 generations to create the number of deviant personalities who dominate the media today. The concept of fake news is not new news, and it is based upon the lack of ethics in the media. That lack of ethics stems from a complete disregard for the moral beliefs of our society, really, that our society was built on. Let me go back to when I was working for Captain Kangaroo at CBS TV. And I had finished a stint for educational television, is what it was called. Now it's called PBS, in Milwaukee. And I was working now for Captain. And one day, it was in the 70s, I was called in to the producer's office, Jim Hirschfeld, and he sat me down and showed me some printouts that were made of children's attention span, which was evaluated by their eye pupil dilation, apparently. They had hidden cameras behind the videos that these children would be viewing, and they had plotted them out on graphs and charts. They had analyzed these. There was and he showed me the chart that showed showed children listening to my song, and it started up here, and then it started going down because the children were thinking, were paying attention to the words and thinking about the music, which I used only a guitar for, and most of the other works were musical works which involved orchestration and so on. And he said to me, look, he said, we think your music is wonderful, we love it, that's why we use it, it's very nice. He said, but you know, the fact is that now with so many mothers at work, not guarding their children, and what they watch, he said the kids are turning the handle themselves, and they're turning off Captain, and they're switching to the slam bang, you know, cartoon character things that are going on the other channels. He said, we have to keep the advertisers. The advertisers won't support us if the adrenaline is not high, and the adrenaline isn't high unless there's a lot of anxiety, emotional commitment, going on in the child's brain. So can you change your writing style, which I couldn't and wouldn't do. But that was in the 70s. So if we look at these videos that are being produced by these deviant, pedophile, inundated characters who are creating them, then, and please do sue me, I'll happily defend myself in a court of law, then, you see the anxiety that the child is experiencing when the child is viewing this material. When the child is viewing Elsa being attacked by the Spider-Man sexually, when you are viewing the stimuli that is coming out of these horrible scenes of things growing in Elsa's ear, of these fecal activities that are engaged in with Elsa and with the Spider-Man. All these absolutely deformed, degenerate, incredibly degenerate materials that are being watched. And by the way, your YouTube analysis I find to be extraordinary. It's excellent. I was thinking, what more can I contribute to the analyses that you have done on your YouTube analyses of these materials? And the parents and the country is indebted to your investigators who have put that together. So you have to understand when it started. Yeah, when did it start? Well, in 1948, Dr. Alfred Kinsey of the Kinsey Institute, which exists right now at Indiana University, produced a book called Sexual Behavior in the Human Male. It went out all over the country. It was supported by the Rockefeller Foundation. It had millions of dollars behind it to promote it. It went globally, global acceptance. In that book, Dr. Kinsey lied. He was a sadomasochist, which applies to these videos, very much a sadomasochist. He was a pedophile, which you see in these videos. This was all hidden. He was a masturbatory addict, which is part of the videos. He was, of course, an adulterer and a homosexual bisexual, which is all kind of, very much part of this material, and believed that, and said that sexuality is so fluid, we can be anything. So all this is reflected today, 3 generations later, in the creation of the videos that we now are seeing here for children. Now, the main thing, of course, was that Kinsey also, as I said, was a pedophile. We know that because he was involved in the sexual torture, rapes of at least 317 to 2,035 infants and children, 2 months of age to 14 years of age, for so-called orgasms. So this is a long way of saying all of this began to move into the culture. Hugh Hefner said that he was a virgin himself until age 22, which was common at that time. And he said that reading Kinsey changed everything. He then, from then on, was going to be Kinsey's pamphleteer. And as most of you probably know, he created a magazine subsequent to that called Playboy, which began the transition for America and the world from our moral position, our common laws, our laws, because all those got changed based on Kinsey. The transition across we track it all the way, the timeline, from Playboy to Penthouse to Hustler. Each each period of time closing and closing to today's bludgeoning pornography, and eventually things like today, these videos by Disney, or if not by Disney, approved by Disney. I remember in Playboy there was a nude girl about supposedly about 7 years of age, lying on Disney sheets. There were the sheets across her foot, but the rest of her was obviously naked. And it was an incest picture. She was a real girl, and it was an incest picture. I won't quote it here because it's obscene, but it urged incest, and it urged rape of this little girl. And Disney was there on her feet. Now, Disney never did anything about that that sequence in Playboy, but at the same time, I recalled reading that they were suing a nursery school for putting the Mickey Mouse images on their little wooden wall outside the nursery school. They sued for that. Disney is known as being the most litigious and protective of its copyrights. So to use Elsa and to use the Frozen as images and dress these Elsa characters in their clothing and have them act out as they do, and the Marvel comic and the Superman, the Spider-Man, comic, to have all that present in these videos, as far as I am concerned, what I would love to see this open them up Disney itself for whatever part it plays. I would love to see it open up for a massive lawsuit. I would like to see a congressional investigation at least take place of this material. Who is doing it? Why? What do they have in mind? We know that the children who are watching it are imitating. We know that copycat crimes are standard even for adults, copycat crimes for children. Now, how many people are keeping track of who is raping the little child in the next room in imitation of Spider-Man on top of Elsa, which appears in that material? What about those bonds, those duct tape things that are wrapping another child up, and in a bed? What about Spider-Man doing the things that he is doing and now with the film celebrating Spider-Man? This cannot be coincidental. I would say that this is the most, and I've dealt with harmful materials for the past 30 years. I have dealt with the worst, I thought, of the worst. I really have. I have never seen anything as vicious, as sadistic, as pedophilic as I have been witnessing in this material. I cannot say this with more strength than I do. It has got to not only stop, but the people who are involved must be arrested. They must be charged with contributing to the delinquency of minors, at least, at minimum.
We would like to thank Dr. Reisman and her staff at the Liberty Institute for preparing this testimonial. Words as powerful as these are resounding and echo our message loud and clear. We would also like to take this time to invite any other professionals to provide their own perspective as we plan more videos like this one in the future. The Investigating YouTube team sees it best to approach the topic from a broad range of perspectives and personalities, because despite our differences, we can all agree on one thing: these videos are not appropriate for children. please write to us at investigatingyoutube@protonmail.com if you would like to contribute to an upcoming video. We are also seeking testimonials from concerned parents or those whose children have been exposed to this content. We will do our best to help get your message out for the world to hear, as it has become our duty to continue investigating YouTube. Please subscribe to our channel to follow along with our investigation and share these videos with any parents in your life so we may continue to expose the darker side of children's YouTube.